The sun was just beginning to dip behind the dusty horizon when Commander Jack Rawlins, a seasoned Navy SEAL with 20 years of service behind him, pulled his battered Ford truck into the base's restricted lot. He killed the engine and sat in silence for a moment, listening to the rhythmic breathing of his loyal companion beside him, Max, a 7-year-old German Shepherd K9, who had served by his side through 3 deployments and more covert missions than either of them could count. Max was more than just a partner. He was the only soul who had seen Jack cry, the only one who had stood guard when Jack couldn't sleep, haunted by memories of desert firefights and lost brothers. To anyone else, Max was a military asset, well-trained, obedient, a tool. But to Jack, he was family. Tonight, however, something was wrong. Jack could feel it. The base was unusually quiet, but a tension hung in the air, the kind that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. He reached to open the truck door on his side, but Max suddenly stiffened, his ears pricked, a low growl building in his throat. Jack paused, startled. "Easy, boy. It's just me," he murmured, his voice low and calm. But Max didn't relax. Instead, he lunged forward, blocking Jack's hand with his massive head, teeth bared now, eyes fixed on the passenger side door behind him. Confused but alert, Jack scanned the parking lot. Nothing. Not a single soul in sight. He reached again, more forcefully this time, but Max snapped his jaws inches from Jack's hand, a clear warning. "Max! What the hell's gotten into you?" Jack whispered, his heart pounding. He'd never seen Max act like this. Not once in 7 years. He pulled his sidearm from the holster at his thigh, his training overriding the fear prickling at his gut. He peered through the window into the back seat, and froze. There, half hidden under a camo tarp, was a small metal box with blinking red lights. Wires snaked out of it, attached crudely to what looked like a block of plastic explosives. Jack's breath caught in his throat. A bomb. In his truck. On his base. Max turned to face him now, his eyes locking with Jack's, as if to say, "Stay put. Trust me." Jack's hand trembled as he holstered his gun and reached for his radio. "Commander Rawlins to Command Center. Possible IED in vehicle. Request EOD, immediate lockdown." His voice was calm, but his pulse was thunder in his ears. Within minutes, the lot was swarming with men in bomb suits, bomb-sniffing dogs, and commanding officers barking orders. Max stayed rigid in the truck, eyes never leaving the device, growling low if anyone got too close too soon. Jack stood by helplessly, his chest tight. How had this happened? Who had done this? And how had Max known? Hours passed in painstaking caution. The EOD team finally disarmed the device, a pressure trigger connected to the truck's door latch. If Jack had opened that door just a few inches more, the bomb would have detonated, taking him, Max, and half the lot with it. Commander Briggs, a heavyset man with a permanent scowl, clapped Jack on the shoulder as the last wire was cut. "You got yourself a damn hero there, Rawlins," he said, nodding toward Max, who now sat calmly at Jack's side, tail wagging as if the night's terror hadn't just unfolded. Jack dropped to his knees, burying his face in Max's fur. "You saved my life, buddy," he whispered hoarsely. "You always do." But the ordeal was far from over. Over the next few weeks, Jack and Max found themselves in the middle of an investigation that reached deeper than anyone on base had imagined. The bomb had been an inside job. A betrayal. It turned out that someone Jack had once trusted, an armorer named Diaz, had been smuggling explosives and intel to enemies overseas. Jack and Max were reassigned to a covert unit tasked with tracking Diaz down before he could vanish. The trail led them through abandoned warehouses on the edge of town, hidden safe houses, and countless dead ends. There were nights when Jack thought about giving up, but every time he looked at Max, he knew he couldn't. Max never hesitated. He never doubted. And so, neither did Jack. One rainy night, they cornered Diaz in an old fishing cabin near the docks. Jack could still remember the way the rain pounded on the tin roof, the smell of salt and oil in the air. Diaz pulled a gun, but he didn't stand a chance. Max lunged, faster than Jack could shout his name, and pinned Diaz to the ground, teeth inches from his throat until Jack slapped the cuffs on. The case was closed. The threat was gone. But something inside Jack had changed. He'd always known Max was special, but now their whole world did too. When they returned to base, Max was awarded a Medal of Valor in front of the entire unit. Jack stood next to him, blinking back tears he didn't bother hiding anymore. As the base commander pinned the medal to Max's collar, the German Shepherd gave a single, proud bark that echoed through the hangar. Years later, when Max finally retired, Jack did too. They moved to a small cabin in the mountains, just a man and his dog, free at last from the constant hum of danger and war. At night, they'd sit on the porch under a blanket of stars, Max's head resting on Jack's knee. Jack often thought back to that night in the lot, to the bomb, to Max's growl that had saved his life. He realized that loyalty like Max's wasn't something you earned in a single mission. It was built, moment by moment, through every mile run, every patrol walked, every nightmare shared. Max had taught Jack what true courage looked like, and what true love felt like. And in the quiet of the mountains, Jack finally found the peace he'd spent a lifetime fighting for. If you believe every hero deserves to be honored, whether they walk on 2 legs or 4, drop a comment below and tell us about the bravest dog you know. And don't forget to subscribe to Justice on Paws for more real stories of loyalty, bravery, and the bond between people and the dogs who never leave their side. Your support keeps these stories alive, and these heroes remembered.